Hi, and welcome to the Clemens Center Town Hall. We wanted to take this time to let you know what's happening behind the scenes because we all miss going to the Clemens Center and we'd kind of like to know what's going on. We've got two people to help us today. First of all, Clemens Center Executive Director Karen Cromer and President and CEO of NAC Entertainment and producer Albert Nocciolino.
Hi, Brian. Hi, Karen.
There you go. Albert, we're going to start with you. You're a Tony Award-winning Broadway producer and are involved in various task force for the Broadway League. Can you give us some insight into how things have been like for the last 10 months for the folks on Broadway and what we can expect to see in the future?
Well, there's several questions in that question, Brian. First of all, for our folks listening or watching, the Broadway League is a trade organization that represents the entire Broadway industry, all the Broadway theaters in New York, all the Broadway producers, and all the performing arts centers and Broadway presenters around the country. It's been a difficult 9-10 months, as you can imagine. Back in March, some 40 shows that were touring the country just shut down, stopped completely, and over 30 shows on Broadway. We were in the beginning of the new Tony season, if you will, on Broadway, where all the new shows open, and after they open, they provide, if you will, the inventory shows for touring. That all stopped. So several shows that were due to open, unfortunately, weren't able to open. And some that did were only playing for a very short time. And of course, the entire touring industry shut right down. And with that came all the difficulties, all the people out of work, the actors, the cast, the crew. And unfortunately, our performing arts centers like the Clemens Center shut down. It's been a problem that we're all working on very closely every single day. None of us had, frankly, any idea how long this would last. We were hoping it would be a few months, and now, of course, it's gone on for very many months and will continue. We have a vaccine, and we're all working very hard to reschedule and rebook shows. All the shows that we've announced at the Clemens Center, of course, we announced a little later with the hope that the spring would be, early spring would be the beginning for us. It looks like it's going to potentially be later than that. But all the shows that we've announced will be coming to the Clemens Center. Exactly when, we're not sure yet. Broadway has announced a closing through the end of May, beginning of June. There's hope that we can reopen on Broadway with some shows. But frankly, Brian, Broadway will probably open in stages. You'll see some of the longer running shows, I think, open earlier. All the other shows are going to need to recast, remount, reboot. In New York, I'm sorry this is a long answer, but we're so dependent on tourists. 65% of the people that go see Broadway shows are tourists. And we have to hope that they'll come back, and when they do, that's when theater will get back to what was something called normal before. For us on the road, our model's different. We're dependent on subscribers, and frankly, in Elmira and at the Clemens Center, we have unbelievably loyal, dedicated, supportive subscribers who understand what's going on and have been in the process of renewing for us. So I think the road will be easier to come back. We're working towards that. Hopefully sometime after the first of the year, we'll know exactly when and get this long intermission over.
And I know you've got your pencil sharpened because there were some shows, definitely 4 that were scheduled for this spring, which are now moved. What shows were those?
Those were An Officer and a Gentleman, South Pacific, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and Cats. And we're, as Albert says, we are anxiously awaiting when we can give you new dates for those shows. Excited to have that lineup. I think it's a fantastic complement to a couple of shows that we're going to carry over from 1920. So Fiddler on the Roof, we were unable to have last spring. And we're waiting for dates for that one. So that'll be part of your package if you're a renewing subscriber. And we're hopeful about Riverdance as well and getting new dates for that. That was not on the subscription, but it was a special attraction. So you might have purchased tickets to that. So watch for all of that if you're a subscriber and a member with this. No doubt we have your email or we have your home address, and we'll get all this information out to you. But very best way to get in touch with us is through email at this point.
It's so hard to figure out what's happening because rules change every day. One of the things we hear is about reduced capacity. Albert, can you tell us how touring Broadway would work with reduced capacity?
Well, it won't work, Brian, and we've been very candid about that and try to amplify that is the word I've been using to make sure everybody knows it. Uh, let's just talk about it for a second. Our business model is one where producers spend millions of dollars to mount shows, and then they send them out on the road. And so if a show has, for example, 6 tractor trailers, and we're at 50% capacity, we can't say only bring 3 trucks. We can't say if there's 80 people in the cast and crew, only bring 40. We can't ask Karen and her staff to only have 2 ushers instead of 20. So the economics of presenting a show and producing a show for the road require for us to have a business model that has to have full capacity. We have to have the ability to generate the income to support all the components that go on to producing a show, touring a show, and then presenting it in the respective venues around the country. So that means that that won't happen until we can do that. And it's not just about touring and coming, obviously, to Elmira, because after Elmira, they got to pack the trucks and go to Cleveland or go to Toledo or go to Akron. So the whole country has to be ready for touring to be continuous, if you will. And that's why we won't open until it's safe everywhere and the shows can get out on the road and do what they do. But no, unfortunately, for our model for touring Broadway, Brian, on reduced capacity just will not work.
And you're probably one of the things too, the touring, that's going to be one of the farther things as things start to open up and come back. So
yeah, I mean, our business model again is dependent on subscribers. As we mentioned earlier, New York is with the tourists. So once once we blow the whistle, I think we'll see the road come back much faster, and we're ready for it. Can't wait, frankly.
yeah, we want our shows back. We want to go out and have a nice night on the town and enjoy the Clemens Center. And Karen, that I guess brings to you kind of off of the reduced capacity. What things is the Clemens Center thinking about doing, or what do you have to do to make things safe for the theater to function again?
Well, we will certainly follow all the current protocols, whatever they may be. They do change too through this pandemic. Things have gone up and back with what particular protocols are safe at the time. So certainly we will be keeping our patrons, our employees, and our backstage casts and crews and stagehands foremost in our mind. The unions backstage are very strong and very adamant about what kind of protocols will be required back there. Certainly masking and keeping as much social distance as you can will be part of it, but we don't know exactly what other things New York State might roll out for us. We don't know exactly yet what those things are, but we will follow all of the protocols once they do roll them out. We have some hints from other industries that have been able to open. So restaurants and the mall here in Elmira and those kinds of things. We're putting in place some additional filtering in our HVAC system, but there may be some additional protocols that the state calls for, and we'll certainly adhere to all of those so that we're keeping everybody's health and safety in mind, trying to mitigate the risk as much as possible.
And that changes on a day-to-day basis, so you never know what's going to be like a couple of months down the road. So
exactly.
We kind of keep that one up. We opened up some questions to subscribers, and we got some nice questions here. Karen, Edward B asks, is there anything I have to do if I already renewed my tickets, or can I just wait for the theater to open since I don't plan to make any changes?
Well, thank you, Edward, for that question. If you already renewed, thank you very much. We so appreciate that. And having that subscription will let the tours know that, hey, there's going to be an audience there. We'll be able to travel and get our tour going. So having those subscriptions already in is wonderful. If you, by chance, ask for a seat request, that's been documented, and we fulfill those as we can, as people move in and out of the theater, and we're able to accommodate those. So we keep track of that very carefully in the box office. So sit tight, hang in there. We have virtual programming that's available, so look at our website, keep your Broadway tunes in your head, and we'll look forward to, as soon as we can get you back here, you bet we're going to call you back.
Yeah, it's been really nice to see the Clemens Center organ getting a workout from David Peckham.
Yeah, we've had fun with those theater organ concerts.
Barbara M. asks, can we get a refund of the money we sent in for the coming season if we don't want to take the chance to attend large crowded theaters?
Well, I think we've touched on that a little bit, Brian. The season is a moving target, so we now finally refer to it as next season. and next season will be the season we've announced. And as we mentioned, it won't happen unless we can function in a safe environment. And so the theater won't open, the shows won't be there until we can. As we also mentioned, and Karen just also, I think, so well articulated, subscribers are the backbone of the touring industry. And those that have already renewed, we thank you. Certainly if a show is canceled, as we had happen this past spring, they will have the opportunity to get a refund and or a credit towards their season tickets, which we've already done. We anticipate all the shows we've announced to come. If they don't, then we'll make the same considerations going forward. But for now, we ask our subscribers to continue to be as patient as they have and as understanding as they have and as gracious as they have. I think they all know the importance of what we do at the Clemens Center and what it means to the community. And for those that are waiting, we understand that. But when you come back, we'll be ready for you. We want you to join us. We want you to be part of the excitement when we restart. And again, Brian, that will only happen when we can. So I don't think anyone needs to worry about it happening in some place that's going to be unsafe, because frankly, the government won't allow us to do it. The shows won't allow us to do it. The people who work for us won't allow us to do it. So we can only do it when we can.
Albert brings up a good point, Karen, about community. Yes, the show comes in, we go to the show, maybe we have dinner out beforehand, but the Clemens Center is such a large part of the economics of this community, isn't it?
We really are. And when we have a Broadway show come in, sometimes they do technical rehearsal here for a week or two before they actually put on a performance. And that can have a tremendous impact on the local hotels, restaurants, dry cleaning, all of those amenities that you need when you're traveling. So hundreds of hotel room nights, sometimes for one show, can be used up. The creatives, those folks that are head of the lighting design, costumers, the director might come in from New York City just to check out the tour before it heads out on the road. So, additional people other than just the cast and crew might be here checking out things. So that makes a big impact to the county. And we are so appreciative of having that additional bit of business that some other venues aren't able to have. But when we can have them here, we certainly have a great time. And they are wonderful, wonderful house guests in Chemung County.
Got another question here from Tony N. He asks, if I could choose not to renew, let me try that again. If I choose not to renew due to health concerns, but decide I'd like to after the new dates are announced, will I be able to renew my same seats?
If you've been a subscriber, we are very careful in honoring the seats. And if we haven't heard from you, you'll get a phone call from the box office and they'll check on you and say, hey, how you doing? What's going on? We will be very sensitive to folks. Again, now knowing that things are going to get pushed, it probably should give you another sense of relief that as soon as we can open, we will, but not any sooner than we're allowed to, not any sooner that we have the protocols in place. And it sure makes a big difference to have that subscription in hand. And a lot of the subscribers are also members of the Clemens Center. And that additional membership means oh so much to us. And people have been especially generous during this time. And we so appreciate those that have stepped up and kept us going. Because as you just mentioned, all of those ancillary businesses, the restaurants, and even the parking garage, they're losing out on revenue because folks aren't downtown. And they have been unable to help us out with their corporate sponsorships and memberships. So the individuals in the community have really rallied and kept us going.
All right. Well, one more question. Bonnie D asks, if I pay for my season and it's canceled, will I be able to get my money back?
Well, again, that kind of goes along with, we're going to deliver. We just don't know when the delivery is coming.
Yeah.
So FedEx is on a delay here. So hang in there. Yes, certainly, if the whole shebang were canceled, I can't imagine. But yes, we're going to be sensitive. What we do ask, though, if we have a show that cancels out, if you would be so kind, we would gladly accept that ticket purchase as a donation to the Clemens Center. Again, keeps us humming while it's not possible to have productions here. And certainly can get a credit towards other performances. So our subscribers that were in when An American in Paris had to cancel their tour got a credit on the next season for that performance. So they're coming in at a really good price for this year's subscription.
Yes,
You know,
all we can do is wait.
Just to add to that, Brian, you know, we aren't canceling a season, we're just moving it. When the theater is shut down, there's no way to do shows. And when the shows aren't touring, there's no way to do shows. So, you know, sometimes it's so complicated, but it really is quite simple. As each month goes by, it moves us further down the road, so to speak. But we will not be canceling a season. We will be doing it just with new dates. So I just as an additional reassurance that the shows will be coming.
Have patience. Watch the virtual events on the Facebook page at Clemens Center or clemenscenter.org. And of course, you can get all the information you need there as well about the Broadway series and anything happening at the Clemens Center. And that's going to wrap up our town hall. Albert, thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
Karen, of course, thank you.
Thanks, Brian. We appreciate you.
And we hope to see you in person very, very soon at the Clemens Center for more live entertainment.
Take
I'm Brian
care.
Stahl. Thank
See you guys. Thank you.